America First is back, and with it, there's another message many people are hearing about how immigration will weaken the country.
We want to get them out. We want to get them out now. We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country, but using the word bad, I'm being nice.
And how walls and tariffs will strengthen it.
Going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
How China is a threat, and how we're all getting ripped off.
Look, China has been ripping off the United States for many years.
And of course, how all our products should come from American hands.
What are we going to do? Say, let's go to China to get our steel for the army tanks and for the boats and ships.
But it's worth pausing to remember who built the steel backbone of this nation. Ironically, it was over 15,000 Chinese migrant workers who laid the foundations for one of the greatest achievements in US history, the Transcontinental Railroad. Here's the story of how they did it and how the US ultimately repaid their efforts. So first, let's rewind and take it back a couple of centuries. In 1862, the US government launched the biggest infrastructure project of its time, a railroad that could connect the East to the West. Two companies split the job. Union Pacific laid tracks heading west from Nebraska, and the Central Pacific Railroad, based in California, was in charge of blasting east straight through the Sierra Nevada mountains. They started hiring white workers, mostly Irish immigrants. But the work was brutal. Freezing winters, dangerous rock slides, deadly explosions. So many quit and others left for better paying jobs in the silver mines. So Central Pacific became desperate. They sent agents and recruiters across the Pacific to southern China. The people they were trying to entice came from villages crushed by famine, war, and colonialism. The American recruiters promised steady pay, warm beds, and a shot at Gold Mountain, which is what Chinese migrants called California. But the recruiters lied. Instead, the Chinese workers got ropes, shovels, and dynamite. They worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week. They had no machines, just chisels, hammers, and black powder. Some even hung from cliffs, blasting through the granite of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And it gets worse. They were paid less than white workers, sometimes less than half as much. Added to that, the Chinese had to buy their food, clothes, and lodging. So, in other words, exploitation and racial injustice at their finest. By 1867, Chinese men made up 90% of the Central Pacific workforce. And they had had enough. They launched America's first mass railroad strike demanding equal pay, shorter hours, and safer conditions. And the response? The company cut off their food and threatened them with violence. Estimates suggest 1 in 10 workers may have died. But no one knows for sure because almost no records were kept of Chinese workers or their deaths. On May 10, 1869, America celebrated the Golden Spike moment, when the railroad was completed in Utah and a ceremonial golden spike was hammered in. Photos were taken, speeches were made, and they called it the day America became whole. But not a single Chinese worker was invited. And just 13 years later, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, banning their immigration and erasing them from history. But buried history has a way of resurrecting itself. Descendants and researchers from Stanford to PBS are recovering names and faces once lost. Men like Wang Fuk and Li Chung can now have their stories heard. So next time you ride a train across this country, look down and see the thousands of miles of tracks laid by Chinese hands. And if history really teaches us anything, it's that forgetting is never the way forward. My name is Ahmed Ghunaim. You just watched the CGTN America video, so I need you to like, comment, share, subscribe, and most importantly, fam, I need you to remember your history, yeah? Don't forget.